Hello, this is Very Basic Bible. Share screen. There we go. All right, here we go. Remember, being Very Basic Bible, we're less trying to figure out. We're not going for theological reasoning. We're instead just trying to figure out how to read the Bible, which should lead us to theological reasoning, I guess. Um, in the same way also that people reason a lot theologically, like there's Calvinism, Arminianism, there are Lutherans, Anglicans, Presbyterians. Some people believe that the end times will happen one way, some people believe they will happen another way, some people believe they'll happen yet another way. So multiple interpretations of all sorts of stuff. Some people believe prayer works one way and another way and another way and another way. Um, and they fit it all together in different ways. There's like different people reason this out differently. In the same way, when I go through and I'm like explaining, hey, we got a John chapter 4 here, and I'm talking about stuff in it. Another pastor, preacher, teacher, smart person, friend of yours, mentor, a random person on the internet, you at Bible study with other people, y'all will figure out other ways to read the Bible. If you read through John chapter 4 this month, then say like okay, so then you go on to 5, 6, 7, 8, you go and then you somehow get through it in a year, the Bible. You get back to John chapter 4 next year at this time. You read it again and you look at it and you go, oh, what does it say? And you discuss it and you study it. Then you go find the recording of what you did a year ago. You're like, hey, we said good stuff last year about John chapter 4. Let's see what we said. And you look at it and you compare it to what you said this year. It could be very different. Even if you agree with yourself in general, probably be a little different. You will have said different things. You gotten different insights. You will think about different topics will come um yeah, different topics, different ideas will come to mind, you know? So it's like, well, BJ, I heard this one preacher say this, that, or the other, and you're saying something else. That's that's what happens. I've listened through, I don't know, I'm gonna say 20. I'm gonna say 20. Okay. I've listened through like 20, probably more, um, Bible studies that are mostly verse by verse. Some of them, the pastor like reads a verse and then just kind of talks about stuff. And I'm like, yeah, get back to the verses. Because like I say, I'm not necessarily worried about the theology or what the verses, how like practical application is good since I'm just talking. Practical application is good and theological reasoning is good, but that's not necessarily what we're doing with Very Basic Bible. My wife has a puzzle. She says, "Man, this puzzle will be fun." She says, "Putting it together is relaxing for her." She said, "Sometimes hey, it's a challenge." Oh, I'm kind of bored. Well, let's do a puzzle. Well, hey, we're gonna go to a puzzle swap, and I'll get to give puzzles to other people. Okay, practical application, right? Yeah, yeah. We can have fun together. Then she puts the puzzle together. She goes, "Look how beautiful the picture is." I go, "Okay." She goes, "Hey, if I put this puzzle together, um, I will be able to put it in a photo and put it on the wall." I'm like, okay. Hey, I can put it together, take it apart, give it to somebody else, get their puzzle. Put it together, take it apart, give somebody else, get their put it together. They do puzzles. So it's like, okay, so you're gonna do stuff. There's practical applications. Then there's the stuff you do with the puzzle. But eventually, you have to learn how to put it together. You take the puzzle pieces and you compare the picture and you put them together. You say, wait, this will fit with this one. This piece looks like it goes with this one. Oh, this has a straight edge, so it goes on the outside. Stuff like that. My wife will take the pieces and she'll separate them into different piles that look similar, and then she can compare them. That's what we're doing with Very Basic Bible. That's what I want to do. Obviously, sometimes I'll end up getting into like practical stuff and theology stuff, but that's what we're trying to do. That, like I said, that different people will get different things out of it. I've listened to like I said, 20 Bible studies, and some of them are doing the practical application, some are doing the theology, but I'm looking for the ones that are looking at the puzzle pieces and trying to fit them together. Even when I find those, a lot of times they will say the same things in different ways. They will give this, they will use the same word sometimes and mean different concepts, but somehow still agree with each other. And sometimes they say the same words and they don't agree with each other necessarily. So it's like it's like if we had the same puzzle could be put together 5 different ways and come out with 5 different pictures. Kind of strange, you know? That's going to happen. So I want to be very general when we do Very Basic Bible. I want to be very, very basic. I want to be very general. I know I'm not all the time. That's what I want to be. That's why I will often look for, say, well, hey, this could mean this could mean that. There's multiple options for us here. You know, we're not very sure. What's that mean? I don't know. Well, this version, that version says that. And then we just leave and we go to the next. Wait, don't leave. Don't go to the. If we're unsure, we're unsure. God, here's some theology for you. God is not asking us to figure it out. He's asking us to love him. One way of loving him is to study what he says so that we can go love him. We won't know how to love him if we don't listen to him. If he doesn't say anything to us, God says, go love me. And we say, okay, how? And he just looks at us. He doesn't put anything in our mind, in our heart. We wouldn't know what to do. So that's what we're trying to do here. Got my Gatorade. Got a sprig of water. A sprig. Let's go read in a different version. John chapter 4. That's the CEB. International Standard Version. Let's look at that. I think I heard a guy talking about that on a radio show, I believe. So, all right, it still says Common English. Okay, International Standard Version, 1 Samuel 1:16, but we want 1 John 4 and search. All right, we're going to start at verse 7. Okay. Dear friends, let us continuously love one another because love comes from God. Everyone who loves has been born of God and knows God. The person who does not love does not know God because God is love. This is how God's love was revealed among us. God sent his uniquely existing Son into the world so that we might live through him. This is love, not that we have loved God, but that he loved us and sent his Son to be the atoning sacrifice for our sins. I noticed that the live through him is not capitalized, but that he loved us and sent his Son, that's not capitalized, but that's okay. All right. No one has ever seen God. People in the Old Testament, they saw God, they freaked out. No one has ever seen God. If we love one another, God lives in us and his love is perfected in us. This is how we know that we abide in him and he in us. He has given us his spirit. So we haven't seen him, but we know by that we can abide in him. That's good. All right. We have seen for ourselves and can testify that the Father has sent his Son to be the Savior of the world. God abides in the one who acknowledges that Jesus is the Son of God, and he abides in God. Is that he, Jesus? God abides in the one. And I bet, and that one abides in God. Okay. We have come to know and rely on the love that God has for us. God is love, and the person who abides in love abides in God, and God abides in him. This is how love has been perfected among us. We will have confidence on the day of judgment because during our time in this world, we are just like him. There is no fear where love exists, rather, perfect love. Love has been perfected among us. Perfect love, okay. Banishes fear, for fear involves punishment. And the person who lives in fear has not been perfected in love. This is how we know love has been perfected among us. Perfect love, perfect, okay. We love God because God first loved us. Whoever says, I love God, but hates his brother is a liar. We've heard that before, over and over again. The one who does not love his brother whom he has seen cannot love God whom he has not seen. And this is the commandment that we have from him. The person who loves God must also love his brother. I looked over there. I saw something moving in the corner. I was like, what's that? It's my cat. Gatorade. Now, if I were in a class doing a Bible study, I would try to ask people like, what's something interesting that you've never noticed or heard about this before? Because if I say, what's something interesting, oh, God is love. Oh, he loved us first. Perfect love. Everybody says the same things, right? And they say it like this. I guess that's how the people talk in Bible study. This is how we know we love God. Okay, so I'm like, what's something you've never known before? People go, oh, and then they say interesting stuff and you're able to talk about it. Pretty cool. We're gonna go look at this is how love has been perfected among us. We will have confidence on the day of judgment because during our time in this world, we are just like him. Verse 17. Okay. All right. By this, love is perfected with us. ISV. Okay, we're looking at verse 17 here. This is how love has been perfected among us. Over here. By this, love is perfected with us. Oh, excuse me. With us versus among us. Let's see. With us. With us. In this. In this. So by this. In this. Is love brought to perfection among us. Oh, hey, look. This is how. This is how love is made complete among us. So not perfect, but complete. And this love is made complete with us. Oh, look at this. As we live in God, our love grows more perfect. The NLT, the good old New Living Translation there. Good old paraphrastic. That's a fun word. Paraphrastic, a paraphrase. And you take the words of the scripture and you go, okay, this part is self-explanatory. So you interpret it that way. Then this part is self-explanatory. So you interpret that way. And you go, this part, wait, it's going to be confusing for English speakers in the 20th century, 21st century. Whenever we translate that into English for Americans, that's going to be confusing. So what is it? What are the authors meaning to say? What did John mean to say? Okay, then we'll keep some of the wording, but we'll try and explain it a little by changing a little bit of the wording. So here, NLT, they're like, in this love is over here. By this, love is perfected with us. That might be like, does that need a little explanation? NLT, and as we live in God, okay, by this, as we live in God. So the NLT must think that this is as we live in God. Why would the NLT think that? Let's see. We have come to know and have so NASB way over here on the left. We have come to know and have believed the love which God has for us. That's good. God is love, and the one who remains in love remains in God, and God remains in him. By the one who remains in love remains in God, and God remains in him. Because of all that, because we're remaining in God and God's in us, love is perfected with us. And why is that? So that we may have confidence on the day of judgment. Let's see. God is love. Whoever abides in love abides in God, and God abides in him. And by this is love perfected with us. So why and why? So that we may have confidence. Okay. Scanning with my eyes really quick. Okay. Oh, the NIV disagrees. Okay, let's look at one more. NIV. Okay. And this is love brought to perfection among us, that we may have confidence on the judgment day, because as he is, so are we in this world. That's so strange. All right, all right. God is love, and whoever remains in love remains in God, and God in him. In this is love brought to perfection among us. Is it in this up here? This is how God love is, or in this is love brought to perfection among us. And what is love brought to perfection among us? Is love brought to perfection among us meant to be a whole clause? Okay. And this is blank. So what's this? That we have confidence on the day of judgment. In hmm, hmm, I'm thinking it's in my head, huh? Let's go on to the NIV. Watch this. This is how, no, so not in this. This is how love is made complete among us. Okay. Whoever lives in God, whoever lives in love, lives in God and God in them. And this is how love is made complete among us. But wait, this is how love is made complete among us, so that we will have confidence on the day of judgment, colon, in this world we are like Jesus. So in the NIV, this is referring to, in this world we are like Jesus. Okay. So we could say it like, let's turn the verse backwards. In this world, we're like Jesus, and being like Jesus in the world is how love is made complete among us, so that we will have confidence on the day of judgment. What if we turn the other verses around? Go back to the NASB. Okay. Because as he is, we also are in this world. Because as he is, we also are in this world, and by this love is perfected in us, so we may have confidence on the day of judgment. Oh no. Doesn't sound right in the NASB that way. And they have a semicolon versus, I'm going to try something. I might mess everything up. Over here, you got a, oh, I got a square. Okay, over here, you got a colon. Over here, semicolon. I'm not sure why semicolon. Semicolon usually is like, it's like a long sentence that goes together, but it's too long, and there are two groups of word clauses. Yeah, semicolon normally. Let's see. By this, love is perfected with us, so that we may have confidence in the day of judgment. Because as he is, we also are in this world. I don't know if the semicolon really helps. Here's just a comma and a comma. By this is love perfected with us. By this is love perfected with us, so that we may have confidence, so that we may have confidence for the day of judgment, in the day of judgment. Look at this, in the day of judgment. For seems to be forward looking. You're not there yet, but when it happens, you're going to have confidence. You're, you're having confidence. You're storing up confidence for something. And what is it? The day of judgment. But this seems, by this love is perfected, so we may have confidence in the day. When the day of judgment comes, we'll have confidence. That's kind of the same, because for if you have confidence for the day of judgment, then when it comes, that confidence will be there. So if you're having confidence in the day of judgment, it's kind of, then what if you didn't have it for the day of judgment, but then on the day of judgment you had it? I'm this is like, BJ, really? I'm just remember, we're like you're confusing me. Okay, I'm confusing myself. I'm talking and I'm not able to keep all my own words straight in my own head. But this is how you do Bible study. It sounds kind of funny there. This is how I do Bible study. Remember, very basic Bible. Practical application, that's good. Devotional stuff, that's good. Theology, that's good. Learning, like how to put all the words together just to make a coherent sentence, just so you can have thoughts in your mind, so you can eventually get to devotion, practical application, theology. That's good too. You can't get to the other, like there's groceries on the other island. Our store doesn't have a, we need groceries to live. Okay, let's go build a bridge. Are you serious? We're going to starve. Let's go get the groceries. We have to build the bridge first. Like no, we need to give these, there are orphans around us who need groceries. Don't you know? Yes, so we need to build a bridge. Stop talking about building a bridge. Go get groceries. But the groceries are on the other island. We're trying to build the bridge to the other island so that we can get the goods. How do I do that? I read it, and I go over and over it in my head. I sometimes confuse myself. Then whenever I do, I start talking, I take a little break. Like right now, I just started talking about bridges and I gave an analogy to try and figure out what I did. I'm kind of out of it. If I go back into it, maybe something has changed. By this, love is perfected with us. Is that the first perfected? No, perfect love drives out fear. And so hey, God is love. And he hates his brother, sister. Oh, wait. Is it, oh, perfect love drives out fear because fear involves punishment, and the one who fears is not perfected in love. Up here, by this love is perfected with us. So we need love perfected with us. There's no fear in love. Judgment day, right? Perfect love drives out fear because fear involves punishment. Like judgment, when you're judged, you either get rewarded or you get punished. And the one who fears is not perfected in love. So how can you keep from fearing? Either by this love is perfect, either like the NIV says, in this world we're like Jesus, or like the other ones say, by this. Okay, so how can we have love? Love is not perfect. Those who fear is not perfected in love. By this love is perfected with us. So we don't want to fear. We want to be perfected in love, like the end of verse 18 says. We want verse 18, but perfect love drives out fear. Good. We want that. The one who fears is not perfect. Ooh, yikes. So how can I get this love perfect? I don't fear. Okay. But look up here. How can I get the perfected love? A, don't fear. And B, love is perfected with us by this. By what? By this, love is perfected in us, not have, so that we may not have fear. Don't have fear. Because this is what it says up here, the one who fears is not perfected in love. By this, love is perfected with us, so that we may have confidence in the day of judgment. So we don't fear. by this. Well, we've already not feared. So if we're not fearing, we're having love. And if we're having love, we're having confidence in the day of judgment. Because as he is, we also are in this world. That one's still like, man, NIV. There is no love, fear in love. Perfect love drives out fear. Perfect love. Okay. Fear has to do with punishment. The one who fears, fear has to do with punishment. So you're afraid of being punished. The day of judgment. You don't want to be punished. You want to be rewarded. Rewards and punishments. That's a common theme. That's kind of common in the Bible. That's fairly. Can I take a drink of Gatorade? Some people think that rewards and punishments are like they think it's like a big, huge thing in the Bible. Jesus talks about it, about being rewarded and being punished, and you know. So I don't want to be punished, but if I'm afraid, I'm gonna be judged. I'm having fear, and love is not perfected in me. This is how love is made complete among us, so that we may have confidence on the day of judgment. In this world, we are like Jesus. If we're like Jesus, according to NIV, if we're like Jesus, love will be completed in us. The one who fears is not made perfect in love. So if you're like Jesus, you're not going to fear. How do you get rid of fears? You be like Jesus in this world. Um, Jesus said, I am in the Father, and in the Father is in me. And up here, whoever love lives in love lives in God, and God in them. Go look up, let's open another one. Bible Gateway, because whenever I open this one, it sometimes I get all lost. Okay, got the ISV, but I might need to change it. Live, Father, me. Excuse me. When Enoch lived 65 years, he fathered me, Methuselah. All right, we're looking for the Gospel of John. What? Just as the living Father sent me, and I live because of the Father, so the one who feeds on me will also live because of me. Say in. John 22. Okay, that's a little better. Some more promising. Let's see. Okay, I have. Believe me, dear lady, the hour is coming when Samaritans will worship the Father, neither this not okay. I have come in my Father's name. You do not accept me. Yet if another man comes in, that's not the same, is it? The Father. I'm gonna look really quick, okay? Instead, speak only what the Father has taught me. I speak only what the Father has taught me. So I'm not having any fear. Maybe that's it. This is why the Father loves me, because I laid down my life. Okay. Oh, hey. But if I'm doing them, if I'm doing good works, I believe he's talking about. Even though you don't believe me, believe the actions. There we go, actions. If I'm doing the actions, even if you don't believe the actions, so that you may know and understand that the Father is in me and I am in the Father. Right here. God is love, and whoever remains in love remains in God and God in him. So if we go to the NIV, so we rely on the love God has for us. Whoever, God is love. Whoever lives in God, God is love. Whoever lives in love lives in God and God in them. Okay. This is how love, this love up here, how love is made complete among us so that we will have confidence on the day of judgment. In this world, we are like Jesus. We are in the Father, and the Father is in us. There is no fear in love. So we're living in love, and we're going to have confidence on the day of judgment. This day of judgment thing, it wasn't talked about up here at all. It just seemingly comes out of nowhere. But in other places in the book of John, here, do, do. Let's see. And we say day of judgment, but what we think of is, let's see. And now, dear children, continue in him. Continue in him. That sounds the same, right? Remain in him. You live in him. Abide in him. Love in him. That's all, yeah. Continue in him so that when he appears, we may be confident and unashamed before him at his coming. Is that the day of judgment? Could be, could be. Next chapter. We're here. So that when he appears, we may be confident and unashamed. The other one's talking about fears, right? Let's go look at 1 John 4 in these versions. 16. And we have known and believed the God, whoever love the God in this way. So we may have confidence. Confidence. Oh, here, boldness. Okay. Boldness. An ISV. Oh. In the over here. Here, right. So we may have confidence. So when he appears, we may be confident. We may have confidence. Let's look at 1 John chapter 2 in these versions. We saw a lot of boldness and one or two confidence. Let's see, the very, very end of the chapter. Okay. And now, little children, remain in him so that when he appeared, we may have boldness and may not be ashamed before him at his coming. Confidence. So the LSV, the literal standard version, uses boldness every time. Boldness. This one, confidence. Confident. We may have faith. We may have faith. So that when he appears, we may be confident. So that when he appears, we may be confident. Look at this one. So that when he appears, we may have faith. I guess if you're faithful, you're confident. Then when he comes, when he appears, when he comes, we can be bold. Okay. All right. Yes, this is an easy to read version. Like the New Living Translation is very paraphrase like. Okay. Yes, my dear children, live in him. If we do this, we can be without fear on the day when he comes again. Okay. So this one has it. Yes. That when he appears, we may have boldness. Then when he comes, we can be bold. So that when he appears, we may have faith. So that when he appears, we may be confident. Let's go with the ESV, the ERV. The ERV easy to read. If we do this, we can be without fear on the day when he comes again. Okay, let me show you what I'm saying. When he comes, we can be bold. We can be without fear on the day when Christ comes. All the way over here, LSV. Oh, no. Let's just look at the web. When he appears, we may have boldness. When he appears, we may have boldness. This one, we can be without fear on the day when he comes. So the ERV, they switched it around backwards. Means the same thing though. Could this be talking about the second coming? Could be. I don't see why not. He is talking about Antichrist coming, and we know that the end is near, stuff like that. Let's see. When he appears, we may have confidence. So when he appears, we may have confidence. So that when he appears, we may have confidence. When he appears, remain in fellowship with Christ, so that when he returns, you will be full of courage. Okay. Confidence, courage. I think chapter 3 talks about when you hit Control F, reveal has not yet been revealed. What we will be has not yet been revealed. Okay, okay, I see it. I see it. Okay. All right. Mm. We'll start with the ESV. See what kind of love the Father has given to us, that we should be called children of God. And so we are. The reason why the world does not know us is that it did not know him. Remember, we're like Jesus in the world. We're in the world, but we're in the Father. We're like Jesus in the world. Jesus was in the world, but he knew God, the Father. These people are in the world and they do not know us and they do not know him. They're they're in the world and they're like playing around in the world and getting all comfortable with it and like diving in. We're in the world as a matter of fact. You know, I'm in a boat and I'm in the water, right? The boat is in the water. I go down to the hull of the boat. I'm surrounded by water. I mean, I'm dry, but I'm in the water. So I'm in the water, but not over the water. These people went to the edge of the boat and jumped off into the water. They're in the water, you know. Um, Beloved, we are God's children now. Right up here. We should be called children of God. Beloved, we are God's children now. And what we will be has not yet appeared. So now we're God's children, but we're going to be more. We're going to be something different. You know. But we know that when he appears, we shall be like him, because we shall see him as he is. When he appears, we shall be like him. Is that the same appearing? Right here. Um, we know that whenever it is revealed, it what's revealed? Oh, dear friends, we are God's children now, and what we will be has not yet been revealed. We know that whenever it is revealed, we will be like him. NET, a little different. Look at this. We know it has not yet appeared what we will be. We know that when he appears, we will be like him. So we don't know what we'll be yet, but when he appears, we'll be like him. So wait, we don't know what we'll be yet, but we know we'll be like him. Okay, what we will be has not yet appeared. It has not appeared as yet what we will be. So in other words, we haven't maybe like Jesus is. This is interesting. Feels like there's a mosquito, but there's not. Oh, there's a big old bump. Maybe there was. Over here, NIV. What we will be has not yet been made known. Now, oh, dear friends, now we are children of God, and what we it's like, look, now we're children of God, and what we will be. Oh, up here, we're God's children now. What we shall be. Shall doesn't necessarily have a chronological. We are this now, and we will be this later. Okay, we are this now, and we shall be. Shall is more like we should. We will be allowed to be this way. I guess it's in the future. I shall let you go, and then you get to go. Um, am I am I gonna go to the trampoline? Should I go to the trampoline park? You should. You shall. You shall. It's kind of a in ABRE, they use older language. Shall. Okay. Dear friends. Oh, dear friends, we are now God's children. The CSB. We hadn't looked at much. We are God's children now, and what we will be has not yet been revealed. We're God's children now. We will be. So we're going to be something different in God's children. We know that when he appears, we will be like him because we will see him as he is. Because I see him as he is, I will be like him. When he appears, I will necessarily see him. Kind of like, hey, we know that when he appears, you will see him. And when you'll see him, you will be like him. But that's not been revealed yet, but we at least know we're children. Is that the NET has a little bit different. So what we know that when he appears, we'll be like him. The NET, we know that whenever it is revealed, we'll be what's revealed? What we will be has not yet been revealed. It says the other versions say when Jesus appears, we'll be like him. This one says when what we will be is revealed, then we'll be like Jesus. And why? Because we'll see him just as he is. So when it happens, we're gonna be like Jesus because we see Jesus like he is. Like I'm not entirely sure. Entirely sure. Entirely sure. Entirely sure. I'm not entirely sure. There are people who will tell you. There are other pastors, teachers, preachers, theologians, professors, random friends of yours who've read the Bible who haven't read the Bible. They're, oh, this is obvious. This is obviously what it means. You probably get like 10, or in fact, 10 different things. Oh, wait. No, we were looking at chapter 4. We'll go back to chapter 4. So what he will be revealed. John 3, everyone who has this hope focused on him purifies himself just as Jesus is pure. So this one doesn't necessarily talk about boldness and confidence, but the end of chapter 2 did. So if we go back to John chapter 4 and we compare, the silence. In the sound of silence. uh, by this is love, perfected with us, so we may have confidence for the day of judgment, because as he is, so also are we in this world. We don't know what we will be, but when he appears, we'll be like him. But it says, man, I already lost it. We're going to close all these. We're going to open it up right there. We're getting really detailed now. I mean, 49 minutes it says. Have I been going for that long? Not sure. Maybe. Okay. NESB. So let's change all these, change versions. Literal standard version. Right there. 2020. New King James, because everybody likes a good King James. 1982, that's fine. It's a little older, but that's okay. Bring Standard Bible. There we go. Oh, I saw it. Study Bible, Berean Study Bible. Here's our Catholic Public Domain version. Here's the New International Reader's version. Right here, we generally put the web, World English Bible. And down here, easy to read version, because we want a good, like, good paraphrase. The web's kind of that way too. So, all right. We're going to go to John 2. John 2. So, John 4. John 2. 4. 2. Okay, now we want the very end of John 2. All right. Right here, John 4. Oops. Okay, you see 16, 17, 18. 16, 17, 18. Okay. Now here, John 2, 28, 29. 28, 29. Okay. pretty good, I think. All right. We have come to know and have believed the love which God has for us. God is love, and the one who remains in love remains in God, and God remains in him. By this, love is perfected with us, so we may have confidence in the day of judgment, because as he is, we also are in the world. There's no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear, because fear involves punishment, and the one who fears is not perfected in love. All right. One second. Okay. Now, little children, remain in him, so that when he appears, we may have confidence and not draw back from him in shame at his coming. When he appears, we may have confidence and not draw back in shame from him, not draw back from him in shame at his coming. Remains in him, by his love is perfected with us, so we may have confidence in the day of judgment. Because as he is, he's also love, perfect love drives out fear, because fear involves punishment. So there's no talk of shame here, like there is here. No talk of drawing back, like there is here. If here there's no talk of drawing back. Just the word confidence. And then the day of judgment, people think is going to be the same as at his coming. People are going to think it's the same. If only we could go and say, hey, John, what were you talking about here? Like I said, other preachers, teachers, smart people, regular people, they're going to say, no, that is what it is. They're going to say, here's what they're going to tell you exactly what it means. You might be like BJ. It's obviously what it means. I wish we had more to go on. From what I remember in 2nd and 3rd John and in the Gospel of John, nothing to go on. Very limited information sometimes, which is fine. I'm fine with limited information and not knowing all the answers. What's some general stuff we could draw out of this? We should love God. We should remain in God. John wants us to be perfected in love. He doesn't want us to fear. He wants us to be as Jesus in this world. He wants us to have confidence. Okay. If you don't have confidence and you have fear, then you're not perfected in love. So be perfected in love. And how do you get perfected in love? You remain in love and remains in God, and God remains in him. I mean, but is the end of time? Even if John wasn't talking about that, he could say all of this without mentioning the end of time, without mentioning the judgment day. So I think it could mention staying in love with God, and fear due to punishment does not fit with love. If you remain in God, you're not scared of him, stuff like that. Could mention all that. Let's read from up here, and we'll try and read through this, and we'll just see what it's like. I'll read in the NABRE. Okay. No one has ever seen God. Yet, if we love one another, God remains in us, and his love is brought to perfection in us. We haven't seen God, but when he appears, we will be like him because we will see him. Where's verse 16? Where is that? That we may have confidence on it because as he is, so are we in the world. could have swore it said that. Oh, maybe that was in another place because we will see him. Maybe it's in chapter 2. Oh, no. Could have swore. So are we in the world? The confidence and judgment. So because we will see him, I thought it said. Oh, wait. Beloved, we are God's children now. What we shall be has not yet been revealed. We do know that when it is revealed, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. Everyone who has this hope based on him makes himself pure as he is pure. Have that hope. Make yourself pure as he is pure. When he is revealed, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. No one has seen God. Yet if we love one another, God remains in us, and his love is brought to perfection in us. So even though we don't see him, his love can be brought to perfection in us. People, maybe they were thinking we need to be able to see God, whatever that means. John and the apostles said, "Hey, our hands have touched, our hands have." They said they've seen God, right? In the form of Jesus. In the form of Jesus, they've seen uh, John 1. No, First John 1. Oops. What existed from the beginning, what we have heard, what we have okay, I think it's done. What we have heard, what we have seen with our eyes, what we have observed and touched with our hands. This is the word of life. This life was revealed to us, revealed. It was revealed to us in Jesus, and we have seen it and testify about it. Huh. So this life was revealed to us, and we will know Jesus when he's revealed. First coming and second coming, is that what it's talking about? Jesus' first coming was how he's revealed, right? They say we have seen him, and they're saying they will see him. John is saying y'all will see him. And you don't want to shrink back in fear when you see him. Okay? And his love is brought to perfection in us, even though we haven't seen him. John and the apostles saw him in human form, in the incarnation. But then John here says no one has ever seen God. God not in human form, not in incarnation, pure God, you know. Like like I've I've been near lava. I've never been inside lava. How do we know? Because you're still alive to tell about it. You know, I've um I've seen Jesus. Oh, okay. You know, I've been near lava, but there are railings and stuff. I couldn't get close to it. There are people standing there saying, "No, please stand back." You know, you can go to volcanoes where you can kind of walk around and look, and you can get pretty close to it. But if you get in it, you're not going to come back. So we've seen Jesus, but have we seen Jesus? Have we seen God without the incarnation? No. People in the Old Testament are like, "I've seen God. We're going to die," and you know, they're afraid that when they see God, they're going to die or something. And God's like, "Hey, I can't show myself to anyone," and kind of strange, you know. So no one's seen God. They, pure form, not incarnation. Okay. But if we love one another, God remains in us, and his love is brought to perfection in us. So if we remain in God, his love is brought to perfection in us. And down here, whoever remains and loves in God, and God is in him, and this is love brought to perfection among us, so that we have confidence on the judgment day, on the day of judgment. We have confidence. Look, no one has seen God, but we want to be able to see him. So when he comes back and we can't see, maybe this is what's being said. When we come back and we can't see him, don't worry. Love is perfected in us if we live in him. We're like, oh no, we're not going to be, there's no way to do it. And John's like, there is, I promise. Live in him and let him live in you. Remain in him. And hey, he has given us his spirit. Look, we have seen and testified that the Father sent Jesus as the Savior of the world. Whoever acknowledges Jesus, Son of God, God remains in him. So hey, you want to see him, right? You haven't seen him. You want to see him? Okay. Well, you need perfect love. How do you get perfect love? He's given us a spirit. Okay. We remain in him. We know that because he gave us a spirit. Look, we can tell you he's come to be the Savior of the world. He's not come to judge us. Remain in him, remain in God. Have love for God. If we do all this, love is brought to perfection. Then we can have confidence on the day of judgment. But I'm still baffled by because as he is, so are we in this world. Because as he is, so are we in this world. If we do all that stuff, if we live in God, we abide in God, and God lives and abides in us, we can be like God in this world. Okay. And if you're like God, if you're perfected in love, then you can see God. If we do all this stuff, then we can be like God in this world. So whenever Jesus comes to this world and we see him, we have confidence. We won't shrink back. So one who fears is not yet perfect in love. So get perfected. Don't fear God. We love because he first loved us. He loves us. Maybe all this, I'm gonna have to re-listen to this later. To re-listen to all me talk about this. Maybe I never I sometimes re-listen to my videos. I always re-listen to my sermons. When I give a sermon, I go back and I re-listen to it. This, hmm, I feel like I've gotten a little too much like, wait, I might have figured it. I mean, maybe. And this is love. Not that we love God, but that he loved us and sent his son as the expiation for our sins, the atoning sacrifice, to be the propitiation, all that stuff, okay? Beloved, if God so loved us, we also must love one another. I mean, you love God and you have to love one another. Okay. You go from right there. We also must love one another. Then you have this, no one has seen God. You go way down here, and then we love because he first loved us. Remember, and this is love, not that we love God, but that he loved us. So we love because he first loved God. If anyone says, I love God, but hates his brother, he's a liar. We gotta love our brother. We love God. We live in God. How does all that have to do with all this seeing God and being perfected in God and God remains in him and such? You listen to a Bible study over the book of John, and they kind of talk about these like they're isolated phrases. Maybe they are. Maybe they're isolated. They don't necessarily have to relate to each other. I'm trying to relate them to each other so we can like we see themes and such. If they're meant to be isolated from each other, that's good. If they're meant to be themes and such, which kind of holds it together, that's good. If it's meant to be one continuous argument, doesn't seem that way. Well, guys, it's been fun. We'll talk about this again next time because this chapter just people go through it so fast when I'm listening to like they'll spend 3 or 4 sermons on chapter one. They'll spend 3 or 4 or 5 sermons on chapter two and chapter three, sometimes a single verse, a Bible studies. There's a guy who did a Bible study and he did like 8 Bible studies on chapter one, did like 5 or 6 on two, 5 or 6 on three, and then this one he did two. I was like, what? Wait, what? Maybe three. Two on verses on the first 6 verses, and then one on all these. I'm like, dude, come on, give me more. I'm really trying to figure this out. All right, guys. We will see y'all on the next very basic Bible.